Beginners need videos too. I don't know, I feel like everything I do is like beginner level, but I just make it way harder than it needs to be. Hey guys, Courtney here with Courtney's Customs, and today I'm going to be doing a beginner's glitter ombre and decal tumbler tutorial. For this tutorial, I'm using a 30-ounce skinny from Maker Flow Crafts. I'll have their link down in my description like always. And I base painted it Satin Sweet Pea from Rust-Oleum. This one was a paint and primer. I've noticed I don't like the paint and primers. I just like the regular paints because, I mean, I don't know, like, they come out kind of funky. I don't know if you can really tell on camera, but it's like textured. Like, I don't know, it's weird. So I don't recommend getting the paint and primer, even though you would think that's what you should get. Me personally, I just like the plain, regular Rust-Oleum paint. To make my ombre, I'm using two gorgeous glitters from two amazing glitter companies. This one is Fetish from the Glitter Grind. It's a gorgeous chunky mix. That's what's going to go on the bottom. And then on the top, this is Fuzzy Navel from Peachy Olive Glitters. This one is more of a like medium fine mix. So I think these two colors together are going to be stunning. So whenever I put glitter on my tumblers, I always use Mod Podge. This is the kind of Mod Podge I get, and I get it from Amazon. I'll make sure to link it down in the description. And then I put it on the tumbler with a makeup brush. I got this from the Dollar General. It's just a all over face brush, I think it was. So you don't have to get the more expensive Mod Podge brushes. I've actually used them before and they fell apart on me. So you can put glitter on your tumbler using epoxy. I have never liked it. I don't like messing with epoxy more than what I already do. So I just use the Mod Podge. And I'm putting a pretty generous coat all over it, making sure I pay special attention to the rim and the bottom. So whenever I get all of the Mod Podge on here, like all of the spots are covered, I like to go back through and, like I said, pay special attention to the rim, because the rim is really easy, top and bottom, to miss spots of, and that'll be super noticeable. You know, you'll have a bald spot, and that's never fun to have to try to patch up. So just make sure everything is on there nice and smooth and even. And I'm going to start with the top. I always start with my top color first because I like to have the effect that the ombre is going upward. So if you apply the bottom glitter last, it'll be the one that overlaps the top layer. So I am just gently sprinkling this glitter onto like the top like inch or two of the tumbler. All the way around, making sure I get all the way up to the rim, making sure everything's good and covered. Now I'm going to tilt my tumbler slightly and just very gently let some glitter fall onto my tumbler. And by tilting it, I'm kind of letting it have a natural ombre effect on its own by falling down and kind of spreading out. And I'm just going through making sure that my ombre stops at a pretty even spot, so I don't have some going up really far and others going down. And once everything looks good, I'm going to tap off some excess glitter, set this to the side, and put all of this back into my glitter bag here because it can be used again. So glitter really goes a long way because you don't put as much on a tumbler as you think, and it can be reused. So now I'm going to do the exact same thing with this glitter called Fetish from the Glitter Grind. I'm only doing it on the bottom. So I got my cup covered about an inch all the way around, tilting it the other way and letting it fall. And something that I like to do when I do chunky ombres like this, and I will of course show you once I get everything on here, but I always feel like you know, the chunky glitter doesn't stay, I don't know, like ombre up as much as I want it to. So what I like to do, so see, I feel like it stops too abruptly. Let me cover my bottom real quick. Don't forget the bottom. I've done that before. So what I like to do is spray it with some clear sealant, which is what you should do anytime you put glitter onto a tumbler. And then once the glitter is still wet, or I'm sorry, once the clear sealant is still wet, I will come back with my chunky glitter and very lightly add some more, going upwards from about here up, to try and make it look like it's ombreing out more evenly. And I'll show you that, of course, in just a minute. So whenever you work with chunky glitter, you want all of the pieces that are chunky to lay flat, because if you don't and you seal it just like this, and then you epoxy it, those chunky pieces of glitter are going to be sticking up, and it's going to be like very, very sharp after a layer of epoxy. You're going to do a ton of sanding, way more layers of epoxy than you need to. So what I like to do, this is wax paper, parchment paper, whatever you want to call it. I very, very gently lay my cup down before it's sealed, while the Mod Podge is still wet, and I wrap it very, very gently. And then I just press down with light pressure all over the chunky glitter, and that is going to help it lay flat to avoid some of that really like sharp glitter. And if you have any pieces or any spots that you know, some of the glitter came off of, you can just add some more and focus on those areas with just your finger. But that saves a lot of time, because I used to just take my finger and go around all of the pieces that were chunky, and that just took like forever. So now I do this, and then if any bald spots come up, I just refill it and then focus on those spots with my finger. Just very gently push down anything that you see sticking up. So now that all of the glitter is on the tumbler, you want to wait for the Mod Podge to dry, which only takes about 5 minutes. And then this is the sealant I was talking about. This is 2 times Rust-Oleum Clear. You can use any brand. Rust-Oleum is my favorite. I mean, you can use Krylon or whatever, but this is what I've always used from day one. And it doesn't really matter if it's gloss or matte or whatever. I just prefer the gloss, but I mean, that's just total personal preference. Why am I out of breath while I'm talking? So after 5 minutes, take your tumbler outside, give it a good spray, the entire tumbler all over it, just like you would while you're spray painting a tumbler. Just make sure you evenly cover the entire thing. So now, like I said, once this sealant is on and it's still wet, I'm going to go back in with the Fetish glitter that I put on the bottom and just bring that ombre up a little more, just to make it a little more distinct, so it doesn't look like one color is just ending and another one is starting. You want them to blend a little better. Now, you don't have to do this with fine glitters. I've just always had an issue with the chunky glitters. Set the little pieces with your finger, making sure everything is laying flat. And there we go. So now all of that is finished. I'm going to put the tumbler on my turner that I got from Bama Cups. I will make sure to put the link for them down in the description. And I'm going to do a couple coats of epoxy before I put a decal on. And I will show you guys what I do in between coats tomorrow when the first coat is cured. But I'm not going to go too much into the epoxy because I did make a video, epoxy for beginners, and I will link it up here somewhere. And so yeah, time for epoxy. So as of right now, there's 1 coat of epoxy on here. What I like to do in between coats of epoxy is sand. Now this is a sanding block and I got it from Amazon. I'll put the link down in my description. I think it was only like $9 or $10 and it came with 4 of them. So I just really, really lightly sand. So I didn't really apply too much pressure. I just sanded all the way around the cup, and then I will wash this with soap and water and then apply one more coat of epoxy before going on to the decal. So now there are a couple coats of epoxy on this. It is nice and smooth, and I'm ready to put the decal on there. This is the one I chose. I'm going to do a water slide decal because I do feel like they are really easy, even though I didn't start doing them until like several months into making tumblers because I thought they were hard. I promise they're super easy. I'm not going to go too much into detail with them because I did make a video about water slides for beginners, a couple of them actually, and I will link them down in the description. I'll also have one floating up here somewhere. So I'm just going to jump into this and get it on the tumbler. While I'm waiting for this to soak and be ready to put on the tumbler, I do want to let you guys know, stick around to the very end because I am going to explain how I clean up the rim of my tumblers. I've had a few people on my Facebook page ask me to make a video about it. I'm just going to throw it into this video because it's such a short little process. I didn't want to upload a full video on it. So now this is ready to go. I put my water slides face down. For those of you who have been here a while, you remember that, I'm sure. I'm also going to hold it up to make sure everything is on there straight, and then apply some pressure, slide it right off. Go in with my silicone squeegee and get all of those wrinkles or trapped water out. And there we go. So now to kind of give you guys an idea of how to clean the rims of the tumblers, this, I've always called it an X-Acto knife, but I don't think it is. Maybe it is, I don't know. But it's something that I stole from my husband. I like to go around and just very gently scrape the glitter and epoxy off of that rim. And I'm really not even applying any pressure. I'm just letting the knife slide across it, and then I have a big lump of epoxy in here. So, whoops. So I scrape that off as well and try not to cut my fingers off in the process. So I think all of the epoxy is off, well, right here. I think that's it. So, now that all of the epoxy is off, before I clean the paint off, oh, just kidding, I found a piece, hang on. There we go. Now, got a lot of epoxy in the cup that time. So I'm going to go in with my little sander, or sanding block, I'm sorry, and I'm not going to talk and do it at the same time because it's loud and like it's ear piercing for me. But I'm going to sand the rim to make it really smooth. And again, I'm not applying a ton of pressure. I am just kind of letting the pressure of my hand kind of laying on it, I guess. So not like a ton of pressure. And I do like to sand the rim before I do my final coat because it does, you know, make the epoxy really dull looking, and the rim of the cup kind of looks rough after doing it. So I like to do this and then do epoxy, the final coat. But when it comes to the inside of the rim and stuff, I normally only do that when it's like completely finished, but I wanted to show you guys anyway. So now I have these Simple Truth organic cotton balls I get from Amazon, and then this is the pure acetone that I use. I also get it from Amazon, and I have it in this little container that I also got from Amazon because Amazon is life. And I take my cotton balls, push it down on there a couple times. I'm trying not to touch the decal, and wipe down the inside of that tumbler, and that's going to take that paint right off. So try not to get it on the outside of the tumbler. Just clean all of the paint out of the inside. And you might have to get, you know, a second cotton ball that's not as filled with paint, you know, to get the rest of it off there because it's looking like kind of cloudy. So grab yourself a second cotton ball and do the same thing. And then sometimes like this, like whenever you get the paint off there, you can see that you missed a couple spots of epoxy. So I must have went ham on this tumbler. I got a lot of epoxy on the inside. I don't normally have that much. The last thing that I like to do before I give this to the customer or ship it or whatever, I like to take it inside and clean out the inside with soap and water, and then I use a baby bottle brush that I got from Walmart. It was super cheap and I just use it strictly for my tumblers. And I kind of like wash out the inside really good, dry it, and then it is super clean and ready to go. So before I go, I do have y'all's cup of positivity for the day, like always. And today's quote is, "You always pass failure on the way to success." And that was said by Mickey Rooney. That's all I have for you guys today. I really hope y'all enjoyed the tutorial. I hope everything was explained clearly. And if y'all have any questions, like always, please feel free to comment and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye.